Okay, fine. Okay. Now, if you, as I have shown you the blog syllabus of module 2, it starts with 3.2. Okay. So, a small suggestion from my side is this textbook, whatever you have, whether it is a soft copy or whether it is a hard copy. So, no need to study the whole textbook. Okay. So, study as per the syllabus copy only, because there are unnecessary and there are few extra contents are there in the textbook which will not help you for even exam also. Okay, so study according to the points which are mentioned in the textbook. Okay, so here what your module 2 says, that is nothing but it's actually a multi-carrier modulation. Okay, so in multi-carrier modulation it starts with again the basics of OFDM. Always or many of the time, this OFDM basis they are mentioning it again and again and again. Okay, what is happening in this OFDM and why they are focusing more on the OFDM is because of this concept, which concept is nothing but it's a purely DSP, that is signal processing. Okay, because first is it's a wireless communication. Second is the signal has to be processed from transmitter to the receiver. Okay, now if I ask the simple question that whether this wireless communication is analog or digital, it is digital. Okay, it falls under the category of digital. So even if I tell if it is a digital communication, then the whole digital modulation schemes will come into existence, right? So, and if you want to process this wireless signal, again you need to have uh, some kind of modulation techniques, and that modulation techniques will be purely digital, that is FSK, PSK and BPSK, QPSK, QAM, etc. Okay, now the problem with digital modulation is this digital modulation has to be processed in such a way that no signal information should be lost during the communication, right? So to do that, or to go for efficient computation of this wireless communication, we have already studied in 5th semester, that is called as DFT, discrete Fourier transform. Okay, and what is the use of discrete Fourier transform over other transform, like you have Z transform, Laplace transform, continuous discrete transform, correct, continuous time discrete transform, etc. That is nothing but just to overcome the problems of the other transformations, we have switched to DFT just to give you the high efficiency. Now, again, in DFT, we have some problem of computation, right? If you remember the topic of DSP radix 2, the problems, DFT, the problem was with respect to computation of your complex addition, complex multiplication, right? That was the problem. And how we have overcome that problem? By using the FFT, that is called as fast Fourier transform. Once we studied the fast Fourier transform, we have shown the results that the time period for the fast Fourier transform is much better than the DFT in terms of computation. And there are 4 computations we know, that is called as complex addition, complex multiplication, real addition, real multiplications, and some kind of trigonometric functions. So therefore, in OFDM, as it is a digital communication, therefore we will use this FFT algorithms in this section. Okay, and also IFFT, one at the transmitter, another at the receiver. Okay, now if you look at this point number 3.2, point number 3.2.1, it shows the block transmission with guard interval. Okay, whenever you see a word called as a block, okay, block here refer to the symbols. Okay, block consists of symbols, and what does the symbol consist of? Either it can be bits, bytes, packets, or it can be frame. Okay, so as it is a digital communication, everything will be in terms of blocks. Now the problem here is whether the blocks are attached to each other, okay, whether the blocks are overlapping with each other, okay, whether is there any kind of a distance between the block. Now one question here is, if the signal is getting, if the block is getting overlapped, means there is a problem of aliasing, and aliasing results to what? Loss of information, right? So therefore we need to put some kind of distance between them. So if you look at this diagram, that is the first diagram, OFDM symbol, then I have a guard, then again symbol, again guard, and again symbol. So 3 symbols and 2 guard, and this guard is nothing but the spacing between the 2 symbols. obviously if there is no spacing, then it means that there is a problem of some symbol interferences, or it can be some kind of a noise. Okay. So therefore, here to avoid this problem in the receiver, so that there should not be any kind of problem involved received, or you can tell simply this symbol need to go for some guards. That sound. That sound is please mute that. Okay, it is not audible to others whatever I'm telling. Please mute my creating just a second, I will mute this. Okay. So therefore, just to overcome the problem of this symbol interferences, what we will do is we will put some kind of a guard. Okay. Now again the question is how long or how much the guard should be, whether it should be small or whether it should be intermediate or whether it should be a large. Okay. So therefore, in the second diagram, you can see that if there is some kind of a lapse between the two symbols, we denote this lapse called as a delay spread. Okay, that is nothing but the spreading of your guard, and how much it should spread across the two symbols or across the two interval. So therefore, what to do with this guard symbol, or what to do with only interference method? Simply OFDM transmission allow ISI within an OFDM symbol. It should be within the spread. It should not be beyond the spread. If that is happening beyond the spread, then there is a possibility that you may not receive the sufficient information. So therefore, it is mandatory, or therefore it is mandatory, or simply it is necessary guard band, sufficient large guard band, and it is possible to guarantee that there is no interference. That is what two OFDM symbols are I have mentioned here. Okay, this is how go for OFDM symbol. We have just rounded it here, where you can see the delay spread across the two symbols, or the delay spread across guard band kept minimum, or it should be kept sufficient, so that it will not be lost any kind of information. Please mute that sound. Okay, it is creating a kind of disturbance. Sound is now. Whose sound is not able to just mute that? Okay, just a minute. Just check. Okay, fine. Okay, now you can see here the next point, what we are seeing here is, it is nothing but 3.2.2. it is the circular convolution and the DFT. I will not be going in detail with the circular convolution and the DFT. Okay, why the circular convolution is used, whatever we have studied in the 5th semester, that is circular convolution and the DFT, is nothing but here the major application of the circular convolution and the DFT in LTL system is just to remove the noise, or you can simply call as ISI, the inter-symbol interferences within each OFDM symbol. Within each OFDM symbol, in the sense, the above figure, whatever you have seen, it should be removed, it should be cleared off, so that will be completely noise reduction. There will be complete zero noise, so that the streams which is transmitted from the transmitter and the receiver will be heard clearly. Now what is happening in this circular convolution is nothing but, preferably there are two types of circular convolutions what we have. One is called as a linear convolution and another is called as a circular convolution. Okay, so linear convolution, obviously you know there will be a variation in the length, and in case of the circular convolution, the condition is that the length of both the symbols or the length of both the signals or the length of both the sequences should be kept same, or they should be kept as a constant. Therefore, instead of going for the linear convolution, we will here in LTE system will preferably we go for the circular convolution. And you know the formula for the circular convolution, and circular convolution here it is represented by y of n is equal to multiplication of x of n circularly convolved with h of n. Okay, either it can be in time domain or it can be in your frequency domain. Okay, now if you see the equation number 3.2, the circular convolution, we have what we have derived, it is almost exactly same as that of here which is shown, right? Only the notations are different, right? The summation is varying from 0 to n minus 1 there, here it is l minus 1, and because they have taken the length as l, that is nothing but the number of symbols is represented by l. So that is x of k, instead of x of k they have taken as h of k. So h of k is equal to, or what we have taken there is x1 of n multiplied by x2 of m minus n to the base l. So that is what the notations are different, the other things are completely same. And once you go for DSP, the assumption what we have done here is nothing but all the signals which we have taken into consideration, they all are periodic signal rather than we go for a periodic signal. Therefore here in case of circular convolution, it is possible to take the DFT of the channel output y of n, right? Because we have transmitter, we have receiver, but we have the very important block. That block is called as that block is called as a channel part, right? So therefore, where you will apply the circular convolution, is it necessary to be applied at the transmitter, or it should be applied at the receiver, or it should be done at the channel? So I will make you more clear that the circular convolution should be applied at the channel output, okay, not channel input. Your channel input will be done at the transmitter end side, but your channel output will be done at the receiver input side. Okay, just to get this equation. So therefore the DFT is nothing but what? It's a circular convolution of the two sequences in frequency domain. You can see here I have written a word, I've shown a letter called as a DFT. This DFT refers to in frequency domain, not in time domain. If you want to convert in time domain, even you can do in time domain also. Okay, so that is the another thing. Then what is the second part says, once you are doing the DFT, then obviously you should go for the IDFT also, right? So therefore here the formula for IDFT is meant, you know the formula for DFT and IDFT, that is it is given by 1 divided by n, right? Summation from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e raised to minus j 2 pi by n into kn. And similarly you can go it for the IDFT. What I am going to tell here, I want to make it more clear here that in OFDM we are making use of circular convolution both in DFT and IDFT concepts rather than going for FFT algorithms at the beginning side. Okay, so therefore here in OFDM, if you make use of DFT and IDFT, you can increase the channel efficiency much better than compared to the normal transmission of your 3G and 2G systems. Okay, then coming to the another diagram, that is 3.4, it shows that what things you can do. Okay, what things you have to do additionally before the transmission, right? Here one important terminology which is seen here is called a cyclic prefix. Okay, this is nothing but just a before, and the second diagram, second block shows you it's a symbol. Okay, and what symbol you should show? You should show the symbol in terms of block rather than in terms of packets or frames or bits and bytes. You should show in terms of a symbol, and each symbol will be prefixed by some additional numbers. Okay, and what is the use of adding those is nothing but just to overcome the problem of your information. Okay, you can regenerate the information at the receiver side by checking your okay, or by going for the another form of circular convolution, or you can go it for by adding some redundancy checking. The only reason why we go for cyclic prefix here is just to overcome that there should not be any addition of your information, extra information. There should not be any addition of some noise. Okay, there should not be any kind of redundancy. Okay, or you can also call as a fake signal. Okay, so that is why we go for adding the cyclic prefix onto the transmitted vector. You can see it is clearly mentioned, it should be at the transmitted vector. It means that it should be at the transmitter side only. Okay, now let us study in detail about the cyclic prefix. Okay, what make my OFDM symbol more reliable? Okay, the only thing which is making my reliable OFDM reliable is nothing but the utilization of FFT algorithms for the computation of your DFT and IDFT algorithms. Okay, now what is the necessary of doing this, right? The necessary of using this FFT algorithm over this DFT and IDFT is but just to reduce the number of multiplications and additions. Here you can see in the line number 3, the required multiplications and addition, it should be reduced significantly. It should not be more. Okay, if you go more, then it will be a big problem again. Okay, and where you need to do IDFT, sorry, FFT, and where you have to do your IFFT. Okay, it is clearly mentioned that the FFT operation should be done at the transmitter. Okay, and your IFFT, it should be done at the receiver side, just to make at the transmitter side, and FFT should be done at the receiver side. And along with that FFT, you cannot simply tell that it should be FFT and IFFT. There should be something operation to be done prior to the FFT and IFFT, that is called as your circular convolution. Okay, and for that circular convolution, it depends upon the what type of circular convolution, how many bits, whether it is a 4, 8, it can be more, and it depends upon the length of block, length of OFDM symbol. Okay, if the symbol length is, for example, if 10 bits, so you can go for 10-bit circular convolution. If it is 8, you can go for 8-bit circular convolution. Okay, if it is more than 8, it can be 32, it can be 64. It will be most of the time into the power of 2. Okay, 2 raised to n. It can be in that fashion. You can go for your circular convolution. Okay, now I will show you another part of the cyclic prefix. Okay, the actual transmitted signal. What is happening here is nothing but you are adding the cyclic prefix and you are adding your original data, and this cyclic prefix will be retained, will be removed at the transmitter side, so that your information, whatever which was transmitted, it can be obtained. Okay, so even if you go with this also, you can get to know how this can be done. I will not go in detail with this. Okay, circular convolution and linear convolution. Okay, here now the another problem which we may face here in this circular convolution is, it is nothing but frequency equalization. Okay, very important topic of this module. It is called as frequency equalization. What do you mean by this frequency equalization? Okay, once the symbol are received, okay, it has to be estimated in the sense how many symbols are received, how many symbols are lost, how many symbols are corrupted into the channel. Okay, before received at the receiver, it has to be estimated. Okay, then after estimation, what you need to do is you need to find the gain of that received symbol. Okay, and the another thing what will be added here is, it is called as subcarriers, because there will be multiple signals which are transmitted from the transmitter and multiple signals received at the receiver. Okay, and each receiver will be corresponds to their particular transmitted signal based on the subcarrier. Okay, if user 1, it should be equal to user 1 only at the receiver, user 2 at the receiver, according to their respective subcarriers. Okay, so that is one thing. The second thing is, you should also know the amplitude and the phase of the subcarrier, right? These are the two important parameters of the 3 parameters we have: phase, frequency, and amplitude. Okay, instead of going for the frequency, we should know what is the amplitude and what is the phase of the subcarriers. Okay, so if you know subcarriers, phase, and frequency, then you can go for selecting just a second. Okay. Your meeting will end with 8 more minutes. Okay, I will stop after 8 minutes also. Okay, fine. So therefore the frequency, once you know the amplitude and phase of the subcarriers, then for simple modulation techniques you need to follow, that is called as QPSK. Okay, that will not use the amplitude to transmit the information, just the phase information is sufficient. You should always remember, okay, for if you have one analog signal which consists of 3 basic parameters like amplitude, frequency and phase, then amplitude will not be contributing any information. Okay, the only information, if you go for finding the information, you will find the information only at the phase part, rather than in amplitude will go for phase part. Okay, so this is what about the frequency equalization says. One, you need to go for estimation, you need to go for calculation of the gain, then and also you need to go for finding the amplitude and frequency. And again in amplitude and frequency, amplitude and phase, you will be having phase, the information will be at the phase. Okay, once you get those information, then easily you can go for the calculation of your FFT algorithm. You can go for the even finding the circular convolution, either it can be in time domain or it can be in the frequency domain. Okay, so once you can do that, once you do that, then you can go for finding the power also. Okay, then here the next topic is nothing but an OFDM block diagram. It's a very important block diagram. If you see the block diagram here, the block diagram consists of 2 domains. One is the time domain and another is the frequency domain. Okay, and this block diagram consists of X, and this is called as X bar. Okay, and here these are the vectors, that is nothing but X, Y and X bar, which contain the L transmitted, okay, then received and estimated data symbol. That is what the more important. Okay, and if you see the block diagram here, you have L point IDFT. Okay, this is a complete diagram. It consists of your transmitter, the receiver, okay, transmitter by X, receiver by X bar, and the channel in between the channel. You can have this, you can see this information also. Okay, so you have L point IDFT, because we know IDFT is done at the receiver side, sorry, transmitter side, DFT by receiver side, and this is the channel part. Okay, you can see. Okay, and if you see the points, what they have shown here is, these are the steps for communication. When you go for the communication or you go for wireless communication using OFDM technology, then you can see here the very first step is nothing but you need to break the wideband signal. Okay, same you have done in the overlap save method and add method, that in overlap save method or in overlap add method, you are breaking the symbols into different sub blocks or different L blocks, right? Similarly, you have to do the same thing here also. So the first step itself is nothing but breaking your wideband signal into a narrowband subcarriers. Then you can assign some bandwidth. It is represented by B divided by L. Okay, then also you can go for symbol rate. It should be maintained across all the subcarriers, but each subcarriers may experience some kind of flat fading, or they may experience some kind of ISI, that is called intersymbol interferences. Okay, just to overcome the problem of your interferences, we'll try to go for adding some kind of prefix. Okay, some kind of cyclic prefix. Okay, that exceed the delay spread whatever we have given. Then once you do that, what is the second step? What you can do is, in order to use the single wideband ratio, you need to go for independent narrowbands. Okay, independent narrowband. And how that can be done? That can be done by making use of your IFFT operation. Sorry, it is IFFT operation. That is what the point number 2 says. Okay, and what is the point number 3 says is, once you find the IFFT, once you have the different subcarriers, division of all the symbols in terms of other symbol, in terms of separate symbols, what you can do here is, you can go for order of your FFT. Okay, then you need to try to decompose into different orthogonal frequencies. Correct, add the prefix length, okay, denoted by V. It should be appended. Okay, it should be added after the IFFT operation. Okay, then the resulting signal will be L plus V. L is nothing but your data, V is nothing but your symbol. So the total is equal to L plus V symbols. Then they are sent in the serial through the wideband channel. Once this operation is done, then they can be sent to the channel part. Then after that, third point, what can be done at the receiver? Okay, at the receiver, the thing is, first you need to discard the prefix, that is nothing but L plus V jota, it becomes L minus V. V is removed okay, the received symbol, only the left operation is L. So what you have to do to the L, you have to go for finding the FFT operation. You need to do the FFT operation for the received symbols, okay, which results in L data symbols. Once you get all that, then you need to check all the subcarriers denoted by the letter L. Then what you have to do, once you have the different symbols, you need to go for equalization. That is what I have told in the earlier, that is called as frequency equalization. It is the concept. FEQ ka matlab hai, it is called as frequency equalization. What you have to do in the frequency equalization, you need to equalize, you need to check the amplitude and the phase, and in phase you need to see the information. Once you find the information, then you can decide that whether the received information is correct or whether the received information is a bit of noise, or it can be anything, or whether it has some kind of additional noise, AWGN noise, or it can be any other factor also, which may result in the degradation of your symbols, degradation of your received signal, or the information which has been transmitted. So therefore, from the whole diagram, it is clear that if you are doing any kind of transmission from the transmitter and the receiver through the concept of OFDM and the concept of frequency equalization, then your concern should be more on the efficiency of the signal which is received, first parameter. The second parameter is nothing but the receiver should be perfectly synchronized. Synchronized with what? It should be synchronized with the transmitter. Therefore, transmitter and the receiver should be synchronized. The third thing is you should know the channel properly. Channel आपको पता रहना है which type of channel you are using and its parameter and its performance parameters. Okay, so if you know these three important parameters, that is nothing but the synchronization, then the FFT, IFFT, frequency equalization, and the channel, then you can perform the transmission successfully. So with this concept, I will stop here my discussion. Okay, thank you. You can please unmute because we have only 1.5 minutes. Okay, after this I will end this session. If you have any doubts, please ask.
Excuse me, sir.
Ask.
Sir, can we submit the assignment after the syllabus complete?
Which syllabus? Which assignment? Assignment number 2.
Sir, assignment number 2.
You can do. You can submit. I have given the assignment questions. I don't know. Maybe it is more only. Okay. You can see the assignment here. Number of questions in the assignment 2 were 22. Okay. There are 22. What you can do is, whatever the topics I am covering in this Google class or whatever, you can just check whether we are trying to cover complete syllabus or not. Okay, based on that you can write the assignment.
Okay, sir. We do that one.
22 questions are more.
Yes, sir. So बहुत है sir वो questions.
बहुत ज़्यादा है, इसीलिए आप क्या करो, जो भी मैं कवर किया हूँ, जो असाइनमेंट में ग्रुप में या तो इसमें जो डाला हूँ, आप बस एक बार चेक करो. ओके, सबको देख लो.
हेलो.
ओके सर.
हाँ बोलो.
हेलो सर. What is the meaning of flat fading?
Flat fading is nothing but your signal will fade after some amount